Oh yeah.
Or
Oh
two.
yeah. Let's get it going.
I'm
Look,
not a jealous person, but I see all the sunshine back there that Ray has going on. I don't know.
You got to enjoy the sunshine. You got to get that vitamin D in your life and make everything wonderful.
Oh,
hey
that
man.
sunshine, man.
What did Roy Ayers say? Everybody loves the sunshine.
For sure. Know that.
Right?
Got to be real.
Hey, we're live here.
Heck yeah, man. Let's jump right into it. Again, I'm just looking. It looks like there's a pool back there. Is that a pool?
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's a little half a swimming pool.
A little half a swimming pool and some sunshine. All right, let's hop right into it, everyone. Welcome to day 10 of Game Beyond the Game presents Talk That Talk, your 21-day transition. I am your host, Stan Pearson II, and I hope to navigate this conversation well between, obviously, Ray Leonard Jr. and the founder of Game Beyond the Game, Prince Daniels Jr. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing wonderful. I'm blessed. Happy to be here. Happy to hear everyone's stories so we can make a difference in these athletes' lives, man. So I'm amazing, man. So I'm looking to make a difference in everybody's life all over the world.
Cool. So I couldn't be more happy to bring on our guest for today, and that's Mr. Ray Leonard Jr. And we're going to share his professional and personal experience surrounding legacy and leadership. Ray Leonard Jr. is the oldest son of boxing legend Sugar Ray Leonard, and he is also the co-founder of Launch Team Consulting and the CEO of Leonard Sports and Entertainment, a full-service sports and entertainment management company specializing in pairing celebrities with corporations. That's genius. So, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, stomp your feet, clap your hands for Mr. Ray Leonard Jr. Ray, how you doing?
All right. I'm good. I'm blessed, man. I'm so happy to be here and have this platform with you guys and enjoy and change some people's lives. And hopefully, what we're saying today, my story and the information that we put out will give somebody the opportunity to not make the same mistakes and learn from some of the things that we're doing in the future.
Man, thank you so very much already. I see we started out hot. I love it, man.
You gotta bring that fire.
Yeah, for sure. Now, when we actually, I'll say behind the scenes, backstage, we were talking about your sons, which I guess this will lead me into the conversation we're going to start. Just discussing, let's say, the legacy of leadership, because your sons seem to have a great work ethic. You have a great work ethic. And obviously your dad seemed to have a great work ethic, right, in terms of his craft. How has that been difficult for you in developing your own, let's say, your own legacy and creating the leadership?
Yeah, I think a big part of it is it's contagious when you see it. And you talk about action and talk about the movement and showing someone the exact way to be a leader and how to be, that person that everybody wants to follow. I think it's based upon action. My grandfather started it out. My grandfather was a hardworking man. He had a sixth grade education, but he showed the kids that there was an opportunity if you work hard enough. I mean, he moved from South Carolina to Washington, D.C., and started managing the grocery store back when they wouldn't let brothers in the field. It was a different time. But he said, "Look, I'm gonna give my kids an opportunity to do something different." And so, when my father and my father's brothers and sisters saw that, it was just contagious to say, "Look, we got to do better." Because my grandfather always told me, like I always say, "You know better, you do better." And so, for each generation, you want to have them be better than you are. And so for me, with my father, I mean, I wasn't going to be a six-time world champion in 5 different weight divisions. That's tough to accomplish. But what I did do better is become a better businessman, I think, become a better father, and become, the first graduate in my family from college. And so I had to pick out my little pieces of what I could do well, and I try to transform that to my kids, and I want my kids to be better than what I was.
That's amazing. Did you find that difficult to say, hey, let me find my lane? Or what helped you find your personal lane? As you mentioned, hey, I'm not going to be the 6-time world champion, 5 different, weight class and so forth, but this is who I am. This is what I do. I'm going to do this well. How did you find your lane and lean directly into it?
I'd love to say it was just easy, and I just, got out the bed and walked out into the streets, and this was exactly what I was supposed to do. But it was a lot of
kind of maybe
no, it didn't work that way at all. I mean, there was a lot of trial and error. No, there was some tumultuous times within the family, but I think the biggest thing was being built on the foundation that knowing that you have that inner peace in yourself and you know who you are as a person. So it was never me as a competition with my father. It was me trying to find my own way to be the best person that Ray Leonard Jr. could be. And so it took some time, because I was growing up in this crazy world and I'm hanging out with all these celebrities and coming from the neighborhood that I came from. Like I never thought that I would have that opportunity to meet all these people. But the thing that presented it to me was traveling and meeting other people. And I think it changed my perspective in life because I saw people from different backgrounds and it gave me a thought process that, okay, I don't have to be like this to be successful. I can create my own path. And so that was a space when I found that out. I think it was closer towards when I really found football as a love. When I found football as a love, it was around my 13, 14-year-old time. My parents were having issues and it was just gave me kind of a home, a team, a family of my own. And I said, okay, here I can do this myself and I can chart my own path. And once I did that, I started getting noticed by college coaches, and that gave me confidence. I said, okay, here, what you're doing yourself is good enough.
Wow. Amazing. So you finally were able to find validation in putting in the proper work to make some things happen for you. Hopefully, obviously, some happy in there too.
Yeah.
What I do know from hearing your story and speaking with you is that it wasn't always sunshine and roses. Sometimes people may see the glitz, the glamour, and the finished product, but not know that there are some things that happen in those low times and difficult times. If you want to speak to that, you can.
Right.
But more than that, even what has helped you keep a healthy mind throughout this period of time? Very few kids, have had your experience, your worldly experience from a young age till now. So what's helped you navigate and have a healthy mind along the way?
For me, I think it was curiosity. When I got the opportunity to meet someone that was different from me or had a different background that was having success, I always asked them, "What are you doing? Like, what is your key to success? Like, how are you thriving and in what you're doing?" And not just as a business person or as an athlete, but it was in life and how you see people that have this aura around them, and you step up to them, you're like, oh man, this brother or this sister, like they feel that you just feel their glow, their confidence in what they have going on, and it's infectious. And so for me, it was a curiosity asking, like, what is it with you? Some people say, okay, it's my daily meditation. It was someone that was a Buddhist that would tell me that, or it was I had brothers from Islam that would pray and have their faith, or I was a very avid reader, and so I read things about other people that were successful, and I think once I saw that, I said there are some commonalities between these people that are successful and these people not just successful financially, but successful in life. And so, from reading that, it made me think, okay, I can do this myself.
Now, this being a conversation about transition, clearly you've had to experience some transition. What is something, this may be a little difficult to answer, but what is something that people would not expect you to have transition from or overcoming, based on this life that you've experienced or things that you've seen? Like, what is something that people would have been like, oh, I never would have thought?
Oh, man, it's a big one. We've been talking about it. Just having this time in isolation has given you a chance to look back. And I think my biggest challenge, my biggest battle was me. It was always Ray versus Ray. And so, I was able to compartmentalize two different personalities. I had a person over here that was like that the angel person that was going to want to do good, and then that evil person over here that wanted to do bad, right? So it's like that yin and that yang, and you have to find that place in it. And so the thing is when I was coming up and having success and things start coming to you, you're famous and you got money. Now you think the world starts revolving around you, and so there's that pool over here that's trying to take you here, and you get really in a whole different space. Right. And so when I remember, coming back from college, and I had to have my chest poked out. I was transferring from Ohio to Georgia Tech, and I'm like, man, I can do it all. I started rapping, I started doing everything, and I'm spending money like crazy. So I just thought I was too big for my britches, man, and I almost lost myself. I started letting this side pull me too far to the right, and it just so happened that sometimes you gotta have good people in your life that tug you and tell you when you're falling off. So I had good brothers in my life, my buddy Ernie, my brother Carlos. They said, look, man, you messing up. While everybody else on this side, like, oh, now let's party, right? Because they enjoying that side of it. Yeah. But for the most part, I had a few good people on this side pull me back. And then when I found that balance in my life, I said, okay, it's all about moderation. You can't do too much this way, too much this way. You gotta stay in your lane.
Super cool. Was there anyone you had to lean on during that time to help you get back to that lane, that proper mode of self?
Yeah, it was several different times. One time, from my first wife, it was my daughter. My daughter was young, and I was out of control, drinking, partying, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I come back in the morning, and I'm getting back like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I see my daughter there, and she's coming back, and she's giving me a Tylenol and a cold towel. And I'm like, man, she's 3 years old. How does she know how to do this? I say, so something's wrong with my ticket right now. Something's going around with me. And looking at her every single day made me want to change to be a better person. So that was kind of one transition that I had to make, to just figure out, okay, here, you need to figure out where you want to go in your path. And then, from there, starting with business, I had some positives and negatives in business. And then when I got married, my wife was that solid, person in my life. She still calls me out on everything. And I know that, no matter what happens, she gonna bring me back down to earth.
So always amazing to have that person, that incredible, I won't even say sidekick, but certainly your fellow X-Men, X-Woman in this case, to make sure, and I say X-Men, I mean in the Marvel sense, that has their own superpower that can help you combine forces.
Gotta have that person that balances you out.
Heck yeah. So I know Prince has someone that helps balance him out, and obviously had, children and so forth. So what's your thought, Prince, or what question might you have for Ray right now as you talk about, the business aspect of things and finding the proper lane for you?
Ray, how was it to break away and be on your own as a young man, but being in the shadow of your father? And what was that like when that light was shined on you and you realized, like, hey, I am me, and it's okay to be me, and it's okay to make mistakes, but I can stand on my own 2 feet. When was that? Was that like around the age of 20? Was that around the age of 30? What made you feel like I can walk into mine and be my own person?
I look at it like a stair step. I kept climbing that ladder. I kept walking up them stairs. So it wasn't just like immediate thing that I knew here. I'm 100% great. I would love to tell the audience that, yeah, this is perfect, and this is exactly what I did. I said, here one day, I'm standing on my own. That was going to change that way. Now the mental part that, I say, okay, I can stand on my own, to know that I can do it happen and pretty quickly, but the path to do it took some time. When I was in college, when I finally graduated, that was a big thing because I was the first person in my family ever to do it. But I still thought I needed to be in the sports business. So I got the sports management degree. I got licensed as an NFL agent, CFL, NBA. I got licensed as all those things. And I was doing it, but I wasn't doing it for myself. I was doing it because I thought that was the space I needed to be in. Even though I love it, I love helping the athletes, I love helping people. I thought that was the space I needed to be in. And when I finally sold my company, when I think I was about 26 years old, there was still a hole. I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next, because I was always defined by sports. And so I got into the financial services business. I got my Series 7, 66. I worked with banks and Merrill Lynch. I got into the mortgage business and was doing really well. The money was coming crazy, And I'm like, oh, I don't have to have people working for me like that. And I'm just making money. I'm like, this is a beautiful thing. And so, once that whole thing crashed, that was a humbling experience. because you start living at a space or place where you think that it's never going to end. The money's never going to stop coming in, or, you're not preparing yourself for that way. And at that point, I almost lost everything because I lost myself of who I really was. So it took some time. So evolving back when I moved out to California, probably about 2008. That was a big reflection time for me to try to make a big comeback and learn how to rebuild myself, not just the business, but rebuild myself, rebuild my family, rebuild me as a person. And I think that changed a whole lot in my life. And so I was humbled to say, here, I got to go out and work, because I never want to ask my father or anybody else for anything. So I would go out and work 2 or 3 jobs and be like, oh man, you Sugar Ray Leonard's son. Why are you working this job? Like, I got to pay the bills. Like, I don't really care about what you think about me. And I think that happens with a lot of celebrities and a lot of athletes that come back and you think you're too good to go out and work, a 9 to 5 or whatever it's going to be. But your path is your path, and it's not going to, you can't live somebody else's path. And so, having that but knowing that I could grow and get to another level was a big defining moment for me. And I think that I've overcome some things. And when this whole COVID-19 thing happened, it wasn't even a stress to me. I lost a bunch of contracts that was supposed to happen, but I was like, you know what? I can rebuild. I can grow. I can find another way. So whether it's virtual, whatever it's going to be, you have to be able to change and be open to the flow of life. Like, Bruce Lee said, be water.
I just watched the Bruce Lee video recently. Saw that, being water. And I will say, you just shared Major Jewelry, and you just said, your path is your path. And folks understanding that. And also, I think I've said this before, but just understanding that pride gets in the way of your path, like trying to live someone else's. So thank you for mentioning that again. Your path is your path. And speaking of paths, you just mentioned, obviously, your college days and overcoming, and then even, in 2008, how things shifted. And now, obviously, we're the present day Ray, who has a greater handle on life, business, as he, again, continues to grow and develop. So what would present day Ray, what advice would present day Ray give to 10-year ago Ray, or even 20, 30 years ago, kid Ray? What would Ray Leonard Jr. say to the little Rays who came before him? What advice would he give?
Oh man, the first thing I would have said, put something away for a rainy day. First and foremost, don't chase the shiny object all the time. Everybody that says good things about you isn't your friend, and everything that says bad things about you doesn't mean you harm. That's one of the things that I talk about. And I would also say, be in the moment, because I was, for a long time, I thought I was living someone else's life. It's crazy because when you're moving so fast, you can't see what's actually playing out, and you miss some of these fantastic things that's going on. I think I pretty much had a lot of my earlier life blacked out because I was just moving so fast, I wasn't paying attention. But now I'm able to sit down and be cool and one with myself, and I'm looking at older pictures and all these memories come back. I'm like, man, that was an amazing moment, but you were moving too fast to actually appreciate it. And so that's what I would tell a younger me, is be in the moment, appreciate what's happening, the good and the bad, and know that it's not going to be forever. Every single day is an opportunity to change what's happening in your life and for you to better yourself.
Awesome. And I will hop up. Prince, what did you have? You have a thought just then?
Yeah, I did. So it seems like you answered my question, but I always have to ask this question. I always have to say, if there was, if you were to pass tomorrow, we knock on wood, what would you would sit your kids down? What would be the one thing that you would tell them? This is the last time you'll be able to talk to them.
So it's funny that you asked that, because I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago, I did the blog, and I said it was a letter to my kids, and I wrote out a lot of my feelings and thought processes that I wanted to have them to understand about some of the decisions I made, what happened to me as a man, what my thought process was with it, whether it was good or bad, of how I felt about certain things and what they saw from me. So now I journal every day because I want those thoughts and that information that I have to go to them, to be able to be passed on to them. So when I'm up in the morning or by night before I go to bed, I'm writing down my thoughts to them, and that's to my wife as well. So so it's in writing, so that I don't lose that moment, and so they're never at a loss of wondering why I made a decision or what I thought about. And so it's in writing, and hopefully it'd be a roadmap for them, for their kids, or something that they can continue as well.
That's beautiful. So would you say that it's therapeutic for you to do that?
Oh yeah. So it's sometimes you gotta start following your own advice, right? Because I do a lot of presentations for the military and for high schools and for at-risk youth. And one of the biggest things, when I had my crisis time where I felt like I wanted to leave this earth and take my own life, and I wanted to just be done, was that first thing I did was I put the picture of what was important to me on my mirror in my bathroom. So every time I went up in the morning, I went and brushed my teeth, I saw what was important to me and knew what's bigger than me. Secondarily, at night, all the things that I was struggling with, stressing with, I would write it on an index card and put it beside my bed. And I rip up all the negative things and keep the positive things as affirmations so that I could read it first thing in the morning and knew that I was worthy, because sometimes the world beats you down to a point where you don't think you're worthy of life. You don't think you're worthy of being there for other people. And doing that was a reminder to me that, my contribution to the world is my contribution. My kids depend on me. My family depends on me. And, I'm bigger than the sum of just who the world thinks I am. I'm important to somebody.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's heavy. I know we've discussed legacy of leadership. Obviously, we discussed kind of the healthy mind and family piece. The last couple of things I'll throw out there, kind of the body and spirit. Now, in part, I'll tell you, I don't appreciate all the tags. You working all these special push-ups you got me doing out in these streets, but no, so you continue to stay, in good shape and work and challenge folks, which I absolutely love. So thank you for being a part of that, the brotherhood or familyhood of pushing each other. So what inspires you to stay in great shape? And also, what does it mean to have a good spirit? Like, what does that mean? So you can answer those together if you wouldn't mind.
Okay. Yeah. So, I live by faith. I'm a person that believes in a higher power, and I believe in the God within you. So, for me, I got to take care of that God that's within me in my temple, because you only get one. So that's a big thing. And, the push-up thing, that was Prince. Prince started doing push-ups and making me look bad. So I'm a competitor. So I had to compete. My father's posting videos, and he's punching the bag, and Mike Tyson punching video. I'm like, man, look, I'm not going to be the one looking terrible. So that's the competitive nature. So I think that's a big part of it. But, I think at my lowest of the low, my weight was bad, my mind was bad. I didn't want to do anything, and I think that takes over you, especially when you get into a depression state. That if you don't take care of your health and your fitness and your mind and your spirit, then that leads you down a very dark path.
Speaking of that, I had to jump right in. I'm a person as well that struggled with depression and suicidal ideation. What are some of the other things that you do? Because you mentioned depression, and a lot of people really don't talk about it as much. It's just something that we try to sweep underneath the rug, but I think it's something that we need to bring to the forefront, because a lot of people are experiencing it, and when they experience it, they don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to handle themselves. So, the easiest option is to take your own life or harm yourself. And is there any advice that you can give somebody that you do when it comes to helping you overcome that melancholy state, and besides journaling?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I've learned is take a deep breath, to breathe. Take 10 seconds, breathe in, breathe out, hear your body, be at one with yourself. I know that's from the yoga and everything else, which I'm trying to get into yoga, keep my body flexible and stressing. But yeah, I would always before a game. It was something my father did too, and I learned from him that before a fight or something like that, you can take a deep breath, breathe in, calm yourself down, and get back to just listen to your breathing, and that helps me, and it gives me like a time to disconnect my mind from my heart for a second, because your mind can start taking over and wandering if you don't take it down and just slow it down sometimes. So that was one of the biggest thing, and ripping off the band-aid of fear was big for me, So for a long time now, all my thought process was, what is everybody else going to think about me? They're going, I'm gonna be embarrassed if they find out I'm going through this or I'm struggling. Once I started to rip the band-aid off, I mean, I have no fear of telling somebody I'm struggling right now. I have no fear of sharing where I am. And if I'm having a bad day, yeah, I'm having a bad day. And it's not, something that's going to be a negative against me because we all go through it. But when we look back, and the biggest thing is being scared of what everybody else is going to think. That was my big thing, So now that I'm over that, past that, and don't fear ripping the band-aid off, I think more people, once your thought process of what everybody else is going to think about you is way worse than what it actually is.
That's great. Rip off the band-aid. That was great. Rip off the band-aid of fear.
Yes.
I want to make sure I get that right. Rip off the band-aid of fear. As we kind of close out, Ray, number one, any final thoughts? And number two, how can people learn more about you? How can people connect with you?
Yeah, so you can go to rayleonardjr.com. That's my personal website. And all the information is there. My company website, Launch Team Consulting, to see what we do as far as how we're trying to transform companies and transform businesses. Then I also have my radio podcast that's going crazy right now. It's called It's Your Life Radio, so you can find it on Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Podcast. I mean everywhere. So I'm trying to get that Joe Rogan thing going right now because he got paid. So my competitiveness is coming up. So
come on now.
If you need me to be back on the show, let me know, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna do it big. We're gonna have to double up, triple up right now.
Congratulations on that in advance. Prince.
Yes, I have another question from somebody from the audience. It says, what would you tell kids in school and college that are so acutely affected by what people think on social media to handle all of those stressors, especially the young athletes?
Yeah, so you don't have to fear anything that you can turn off.
Ooh, that's beautiful.
I'm gonna write that down while we're here. Don't have to fear
anything that you can turn off. Wow. Elaborate, please. Could you?
So I mean, here's the biggest thing. So one of my good friends, Shanti Das, who does a lot with mental health and does a lot. Her company's called Silence the Shame. And she talks about, the nastiness and evil stuff that can happen with social media. And, especially nowadays, kids are so connected to social media and they think this is their worth from social media. But you can disconnect your Instagram, you can cut off your Facebook, and you don't have to take that home with you. And the people that are around you are not going to be saying those same things about you. The people that love you will be there no matter what. So turn it off and forget the negativity. You can block the negativity on your Instagram.
You literally can block it.
Yes, literally block it. I mean, that's like the like button. If you can do that in life, just put the hand up and block, stiff arm somebody. Shoot, do it. Don't be afraid to stiff arm somebody.
Heisman pose, baby.
Exactly.
Gotta Heisman these folks. Hey, that's Prince, awesome. Any final thoughts as we close out?
No, my final thoughts is just that this is a blessing, Ray. I thank you so much, man. Love you from day one, man. Still love you. Have a lot of love for you, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You are an inspiration, man. I mean, everything that you do, how you walk, how you talk, how you carry yourself, and how you're a leader to your family. And I had a chance to see that firsthand, man. So I just want to tell you that I'm proud of you, man. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you guys having me on and everything that you're doing. This transformation and you putting it out there, keep people accountable. It's not going unnoticed, and we appreciate it and we love you guys for doing it.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so very much, Ray. It's always a pleasure to spend some time with you, chop it up with you, and tag me on some more of these fitness things. I'm feeling agile again.
Yeah, I'm getting real good right now. I got something for you.
That's what I was afraid of. Thank you for staying connected with us, Ray. We look forward to staying in contact. And for those of you all who are watching this, make sure if you know of any professional athletes, either retired or in the present state of their game, make sure they find this or, guide them here so we can help them along with you figure out your game beyond the game. Thank you all for being here. Until next time, peace.
Peace. Salute.